Good evening, my friends. How are we? You are very welcome along to Monday night's late night agenda, where, as always, this is your show. You let me know what you want to discuss, and we'll get stuck into it. Loads to get through today. We're going to be talking about Opta and their points prediction and who they think will win the league. We're going to be talking about Pep Lijnders and him getting sacked by Red Bull Salzburg. Also, we're going to have a look, of course, ahead to the game against Southampton coming up. A few other bits and pieces around the contract, a little bit of positive news around Mo, and again, a whole lot of I don't know what's going on around TRENT's future. But yeah, lots of stuff came out today as well. We put out the video with David Lynch earlier on. I hope you guys had a chance to watch that. Let me know your thoughts on it if you did. And most importantly, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all safe. And I hope you're all avoiding the head cold and the flu that's been going around. Because I've been speaking to a lot of people. A lot of us are under the weather and sick. So we all good. Good. Thank you for being with us. Right, let's get stuck into it. So where to start off tonight? I guess we'll start off with a conversation while we're waiting for people to come in. Around Pep Lijnders getting fired by Salzburg. Is he going to be one of these people that just isn't going to cut it as a manager and is a very, very good number two, but perhaps isn't made out to become a lead coach, a head coach? You know, this is his second spell as a senior manager, and it's the second time it hasn't worked out for him for differing reasons. So it kind of just got me thinking, you know, has he got what it takes to be a head coach, or is he just a very good number two? I've got my doubts, in all honesty. I don't think he's cut out to be a head coach. I don't know if he has the gravitas for it. But we do know, as I said, he's been let go from Red Bull Salzburg. What we're trying to figure out is what that may mean for Stefan Bajcetic and his loan spell there, of course. You know, will Liverpool get the reassurances they want over playing time for him, or will he be recalled? I guess this we're going to find out over the coming days. Mahmoud said, I think he'd be a good under-21 coach. Look, he's a great coach. I'm not trying to say the man doesn't have the footballing credentials to be a coach. It's just sometimes, you know, to be that guy, the guy, you got to have a little bit more about you. And I don't know, and he never strikes me as somebody to go out and become a head coach himself. He seems almost a little bit too nicey nice or happy, if you get me. I think you have to summon your inner bastard if you're going to be a head coach at times. Can Gomez play left back? Absolutely, John. Yes. I mean, my preview was just recorded there for tomorrow, and without giving you too many spoilers, he's my left back for the game against Southampton, mate. But yes, he can play left back. He actually usually looks more likely to score when he's playing left back because he's cutting in onto that right foot of his. So, yes, absolutely he can. I wonder if Southampton will look at people as a potential manager. Oh, you mean Pep Lijnders? Don't know. The under-21s coach is stepping up for Southampton. He's going to be taking care of the game with us on Wednesday. So, yeah, Russell Martin's been given his marching orders. And who can blame them? You know, they've been so open to conceding with Russell Martin. His insistence on playing out from the back just doesn't suit the players that are there. So, it was only a matter of time before he got the sack as well. Szoboszlai to Madrid. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't know where you're going with that. Madrid can fuck off, basically. They're not getting any of our players, and I'm sick of talking about them, hearing about them. Yeah, they can do one. I'm honestly sick to death of them. So, let's talk about what we would need to get to 90 points. And by the way, I know we haven't got into the transfer stuff yet. Don't worry. I just wait 10 or 15 minutes so everybody can come into the stream. So, if Liverpool want to get to 90 points, which is a target a lot of teams are looking at and a difficult one to get to, what will they need? What would Chelsea need? What would Arsenal need? And of course, what would Manchester City need to get there? So, for Liverpool, we currently sit on 36 points in the Premier League. So, if we wanted to get ourselves to 90 points, we would need 54 points from the 69 available. So, giving us wiggle room of about 15 points. And it would average us at 2.3 points per game required to get to 90. Now, I would say at this point, if anybody gets to 90, you're winning the league. Genuinely, I feel that strongly. 90 points, I don't know if anyone will get there this season. But if you do, I think you're winning the league with it. Chelsea, and 34 points at the minute, currently sitting in second place in the league. They would need 56 points from a remaining 66 because, of course, you know, we've played one game less, so we do have that bit more wiggle room. With Chelsea, they're going to only have to be able to drop 10 more points between now and the end of the season. They would need to average 2.54 points per game. Arsenal, they were currently on 30 points. They would need something ridiculous, to be fair. They would need 60 points from a possible 66. So 6 points only left for them to drop over the remainder of the season. They need to average 2.7 points per game, which they won't. And then Manchester City, of course, we might as well keep them in the conversation for a minute. 27 points is what they're currently sitting on. They would need almost to go perfect between now and the end of the season. They would need 63 from a possible 66 points, meaning they'd need 2.9 points per game to get to 90. But look, they ain't getting there either. And I'm going to back this up as well, by the way, with some Opta stats for people who may not have seen it yet. But Opta have run their chances, the percentage chances of who's going to win the Premier League based off what they've seen, of course, what's left. And Liverpool, after match day 16, have an 82% chance of winning the Premier League, according to Opta. An 82% chance. So we've increased our chances by just under 1% after the draw with Fulham. Arsenal have a 10.6% chance, a decrease of 1.2%, so less than 11% there for Arsenal. Chelsea, 2.8% chance of winning the Premier League, has gone up to 5.5% after the weekend's fixtures, so they are 2.7 up, so they have a 5.5% chance, which is quite astounding if you consider they're our closest challengers. That they're only giving them a 5% chance, or just over 5% chance. And then Manchester City, they have a 1.9% chance. Even though there are still people out there talking about them as potential title contenders, less than 2% chance, according to the statisticians at Opta, of finding their way to Premier League title number 5 in a row. Craig, who would you sign, Davies or Kirkes? Kirkes, because I don't think Davies is going to be worth the money that he's going to be asking. And I think he'll end up somewhere United or someone that's going to pay more than a fullback's probably worth. And we've got our own problems, by the way, about overpaying a fullback, and we'll move on to that in a while. But Kirkes for me. But even at that, speaking with David Lynch earlier on about it, we can definitely confirm that Kirkes is an option for Liverpool. I mean, watch the video yourself and you'll see him say it, but it's the price tag, and this is why I get pissed off, by the way, because he's talking about, well, could Liverpool get better value for 40 or 45 million quid? And I guess maybe we could, but the answer should be, is he the best left back for that? And then we talk about the price. Because if we're already starting to nickel and dime and that's coming into the conversation, I'm losing patience, quite frankly. GHHFFG said, City have been at it again. The match day revenue is obviously false. Apparently the stadium is full every match. Oh, dude. I don't even know where to go with City and their numbers these days. You've seen for yourself, I'm sure. I've seen it and everybody else seen it. Manchester Derby, and you could spot little patches of blue seats all around the stadium. And as you said, they're increasing the stadium yet again for the fans who I don't know where they exist from. But look, everything about that club, mate, as you know, I don't trust anything about it. So, and it really sticks in my throat as well that they got gifted another, a stadium from the government after the Commonwealth Games, whereas you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, United all having to pony up serious amounts of money to either redo their stadiums or, in some cases move to a new one. Have I heard of the Mokoku's age scandal? Yeah, look, it doesn't really make any difference at this point, though, to be honest, Jesse. It did make a difference, of course, when you're talking about underage. Of course, when he was coming through, maybe he was standing out because he looked older. But once you get into senior football, I mean, I'm sure that there are still some issues to speak about there, but, whether he's 21 or 24, it's not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last time it's happened that ages have been falsified, perhaps. But look, it isn't their problem, so we'll leave it to somebody else to figure out. Right, and by the way, anybody who's coming in just to be negative, just stop. Stop. Like, for instance, GTR said we can't win the league with Núñez up front. Right, that's maybe fair enough, bro. But you're forgetting Jota and Chiesa as options now. So we don't have to rely on Darwin every game through the middle. You'd probably say, if we're being honest about it, Diogo Jota right now is Liverpool's starting number 9. And I think he's only cemented that, right, with his really good goal at the weekend against Fulham as well. It's great to have him back, though. I'd look at Haddo, a very promising left back, and can also play centre back. I can confirm to you, Mark, that Liverpool have certainly run the rule over Haddo. I don't know how serious, but it is a name that's been brought up. It's a name I've seen other channels and other podcasts cover as well, mate. So Haddo is certainly on the radar, but you know whether that ends up with a move or not, I can't say. Alex Ayman said, would you agree that our squad depth qualifies as good / not great? We could have much better in depth, but our depth is still very good. I think we're a couple away. So I like to look at it, Alex, and say I want 2 people in every position. 2 good quality options. I feel like in a lot of areas we have that. I don't think we have another viable option to rotate in a rest for Mo. As of yet, might be Chiesa. At left back, I still think we can improve there. Right back, if you have Trent and Bradley, I think we're boxed off there. Centre back, maybe we could add one more in there. I get where people are coming from on that one. Midfield is the one for me. We need another Gravenberch option. After that, I think we're not too far away. So I think our squad depth is okay. You know, if you look at the amount of injuries we've had this season, we don't talk about them that much, but quite substantial. We've had to rely on backup options and goalkeeper, of course, at right back. We've had to rely on midfield. So I think we're okay. You know, we can't afford to have a whole load of injuries, but then again, you don't want to carry a bloated squad either. How far is Dan's from returning? Well, he's already back playing football. You know, he's playing with the 21, so, you know, when he makes the step back up to the first team, Cohen, I'm not really sure, but he's certainly back under consideration. He was one of 6 players, by the way, who weren't included in the under-21 game this week coming up. So it looks like they could be in the squad for the League Cup game against Southampton. Nalo was another one. Neoni, Rio Nyamoha, I think, Jaden Dans, and there was 2 more as well. So, GTR, mate, I'm going to say this politely to you. Just fuck off. I'm not putting up with you, mate. I'm not. You're just bitching and moaning. All you've done since you've come into the chat is bitch and moan and throw players under the bus. There's many of other channels that you can go on and do that, mate, but we're not going to do that. You're calling people washed. You're saying Kwanzaa isn't good enough. Kwanzaa's just not there yet. It's still to be decided if it's good enough or not, but I'm just sick of people like you, in all honesty. Rather than come in with something constructive to say or to back something up, you just piss all over the players you claim to support. And it's not like we're in the middle of a game and they're playing poorly. It's just, I'm sick of it, quite frankly, mate. I'm sick of it. There's enough people out there trying to undermine us without our own fan base doing it again. So, yeah. Positivity, please. Thank you. I wish all these fans would fuck off, to be honest with you. All the ones who are on social media absolutely rinsing the players week after week. It's one thing me being on a watch-along criticising somebody playing poorly at that minute, but you don't see me following that up and going onto social media and slagging off our own players or saying them to get out of our club. I don't know where these people get off, honestly. And then you claim, you come into the chat and we're not 5-0 up after 10 minutes and everything's shit again. You don't deserve the team, a lot of these people. Honestly, just don't deserve it. You just don't understand. You probably never fucking kicked the ball in your life or never been on a team in your life, and you don't understand the dynamic of any of it, and it isn't FIFA, and you're not going to win every game 10-0. Just stop it. It's childish, it's petty, and it's Arsenal-like behaviour. My prediction for the starting 11 Cohen said against Southampton is Becker. Well, you're wrong straight away. First name on the sheet and you're wrong. He's not going to play. It's going to be Kelleher because that's his competition. So you've got that wrong. Next up, Trent, VVD, Kwanzaa, Gomez. That's pretty similar to my own backline. Chiesa, Elliott, Endo, Maka, Nunes on the left wing, Gakpo on the middle. Again, we're not a million miles apart after that, mate, but it will be Kelleher in goal because it's the cup competition and he always plays them. Why is that super chat of Nick's not coming through? I don't know what's going on here with this system, but I'm starting to get fed up. Yeah, not coming through again. I honestly, I don't know what's going on here. Nick, bear with me 1 second. Sorry, Nick. I'm going to bring your super chat up now, bro. I just need to go into a different system. And of course, it's not coming through here either. Absolutely marvellous stuff altogether. 1 second, Nick. Sorry. So kind of neither of the back end systems seem to be working or bringing up chats. And honestly, I feel like crying at this point. Sorry, Nick. I can't bring that up on screen for some reason, which really bugs me. But you've said the negativity I've seen after the draws are sad to see. We aren't losing games. We're top of everything. Maybe just a scared subsection of the fan base. I'm flying high right now. Look, I would be somebody who's nervy about the draws, to be honest with you. But I think this weekend becomes a massive game now, bro. An absolutely massive game. You can't afford any points dropped against Spurs this weekend, or it really is going to just open up the door to I mean, just given, like, for instance, Chelsea could be top of the league at the end of the weekend if we were to lose to Spurs, so we definitely need to bounce back with a win. I'm not too bad about the 2 draws, to be honest with you, but definitely need to bounce back with a win. Sorry, folks. Let me just play catch up. Luxury house or a luxury private jet? A house, obviously. A jet's just going to cost you a fortune. The running cost of a jet? No, not a hope. Now, I've gone back to our old system, Nick, and I can bring your comment up there. There we go, Nick. Sorry about the initial one, mate. I had to work back around, and we've finally got it up. There you go. Sorry, bro. Bear with me. There we are. Nice one. Yeah, so sorry about that one. And thank you, Nick. There we go. Nothing frustrates me more than paying a load of dough for something and it not working. Honestly, it does my head in. Would I consider Robinson from Fulham? If it wasn't for his age, yes. But he's going to be 28 on his next birthday. And if you're looking at bringing him in from Fulham, who would probably want fairly high fee there as well, it just doesn't make sense. And it would be very, very, very unlike us to go in like that. So Dale said, I don't know where to go. I don't even know this poor lad, and I'm going to have to read this out. So, Dale, sorry, by the way, Neville, if you're watching this, mate. So, Neville from Newton Ards is a gimp. Pass it on. Neville, I'm sorry, bro. I don't know you. But, you know, if you would like to, you know, perhaps raise the ante with a fiver to say you're not, so be it. I'll happily read that out as well, mate. But there you go. You can take it up with Mr. Dale. But thank you for making me smile, by the way, Dale, because I needed it. I needed it, man. This is Irish people, you know, vicious to each other. It's what we do. It's a sign of affection. You know, we slaughter our best friends. That's just what we do. When you see Neville and the word gimp, obviously I was going somewhere else with that, right? I thought he was talking about the obvious Neville there. Right, was the Salah news said? No, I'll get to it now. I was waiting for the chat to fill up a bit. So let's get stuck into the Salah stuff, right? So, a couple of reports coming out of Spain, Marca in particular, have said that Salah is close to signing for another season with Liverpool. Now, I don't think it is just going to be for one more season personally, but I do think that they aren't too far off in the reporting, that we aren't too far away. I would go as far as to say I'd be quite confident we'll see Virgil and Mohamed Salah signed up before the end of this month. Certainly that's what the club are hoping and expecting. Certainly that's what the feeling behind the scenes is, that these two everybody's confident on. So yeah, we think it might be 2 years. It should be 2 years, in my opinion, but they seem to think it might be just the one. If it is just the one, that's, I think, silliness from everybody's perspective, because you're just kicking the can down the road. So I think they're wrong on that, but I do think, based off my own information as well, that we will see those two, you know, standing there with new contracts before the end of this month. A report from Anfield Watch has posted an article saying Ademola Lookman has made a surprise request to join Liverpool. Would you take him? No, we don't need him, in all honesty. It is mad though, isn't it? Because we've seen so many links over the past... I'm going to move on to another attacker link in a few minutes, by the way, but it is surprising me, because we want to be seeing links for midfielders, we want to be seeing links for defenders, but, you know, day after day, maybe it's because it's the sexier end of the pitch or it gets more attention or something, I don't know, but yeah, I just don't understand all these links. You know, if we're going to bring in an attacker, I would say it's most likely going to be at the end of the season when we sort out the situation with Darwin. Right, see Mervyn, this I wanted to wait on till everybody was in to bring up, because I think it's a very valid point. So Mervyn has said, Craig, I'm actually kind of annoyed with Trent's attitude already. At least Salah and VVD have showed love and interest to stay, but Trent has his head in Madrid, and that's cost us his performances. So look, this is the way I look at the Trent situation. I'm all sound with things being private if I feel like that he does want to be here. But like I've said many times, I get the indication that Trent wants jam on both sides of his bread. He wants the privacy, but he also doesn't want to commit publicly to say that he wants to stay here. And myself and David disagreed on this whole aspect earlier on. He said it would be silly of Trent to step away from a negotiating position of having Madrid there. But I guess my point is, at what fucking point does he do the decent thing and tell the club one way or the other? You know, because if he's negotiating with Liverpool, surely then he's saying to the club he wants to be here, and Madrid can do one. But Madrid still seem very, very adamant that they're in the race there. And the report that came out today suggested that Trent has refused not one, not two, but 3 separate contract offers from the club. Didn't even really get pushback on that when I mentioned it to a couple of journalists and a few others. So I'm at the point now with Trent, if I'm being really honest with you, where I think he's asking for more than he's worth. And I think it's almost like holding the club to ransom at this point. And that's genuinely how I feel about it. Do I want Trent to stay? Absolutely. But I don't want him to stay with 300 grand a week in his back pocket, because quite simply he's not worth £300,000 a week. He isn't. Nobody in that position is. So I'm just getting fed up of it all, to be honest with you. It's okay when you're playing well. You can maybe explain away some of this stuff, but when you're strolling around the pitch, you're not committing, you're in interviews and you're not even saying things like that you want to be here. I can't lie, it annoys me. As a fan, it annoys me. Particularly because he's a local boy. Yeah, I don't know, you know. I don't want to turn people against him either, by the way, because I just want transparency in all of this. You know, if you are still thinking of moving to Madrid, then, you know, be upfront and honest, because I don't know what's taken you this long. You know, we're at a point now where you should know. If you want to be in Liverpool, you want to be in Madrid. It's not fucking rocket science. Do you want to go to Madrid, or do you want to stay in Liverpool? You know, that we should know at this point. You know? Am I wrong? Like, tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, because the other two, we knew it was going to be down to the club, basically, and some I guess, will to give on both sides. Maybe a little bit less for them, or maybe a year less than they wanted. There was, you know, there was some talk there, and they were always saying, Virgin Mo, I want to stay, I want to stay, I want to stay. But Trent, who's supposed to be the dude that wants to captain the club, hasn't even said the fucking words, I want to stay and play for Liverpool. And I know people say he's doing it respectfully behind the scenes, but that can also be a cop-out in not wanting to address it and buying yourself time. And like I've said, from day one on this whole debacle, the longer this drags on, the longer Liverpool fans are kept in the dark, the more they're going to get pissed off, and the more they're going to wonder what is stopping Trent from committing. And I think at this point, every question he could want answered have been answered, and it looks like it's coming down to money. So if it's coming down to money, and that's what's motivating him at this point, and he's holding out for a 300 grand a week wage, then bye. If I'm Liverpool, I'm saying bye-bye Trent. Because I don't think he's worth 300 grand a week. I genuinely don't. But again, I do want to caveat that I want him to stay. But I don't like the idea of, at this point, the club being held to ransom. And I don't like local players doing that more so than others. Look at Rashford and United at that time. Again, a similar thing. His form was good and he held United to ransom over a fee. United ended up overpaying him and now they can't get rid of him. And they want rid of him. You know, I don't get it. I've always felt like in this situation with Trent, he's got a number for Real Madrid, which is going to be less than the number for us. Because Madrid ain't giving him 300 grand a week to play it right back. So I'm going to ask a simple question in the poll. One second, folks. So the question I'm going to ask you is, are you annoyed by Trent being silent on his future? I think that's the fairest way to put it. Right, I have a couple of super chats to go through. Let me bring this one up first. Cohen said, we should do a swap deal, Nunes for Marmoush in January. To be fair though, I can't see Darwin wanting to go and play for Eintracht Frankfurt. You know, there's a human side to this as well. It's not just what we want from a situation. You're going to have to make it worth the players' while as well. And with all due respect to Eintracht Frankfurt, I don't think that will be top of Darwin's list of preferences for where he'd want to go. Jurgen Field VR said, love the videos, Craig. You're a legend. Mate, these things still blow me away, to be honest with you, because you know I'm just a normal fella who got a bit lucky and you know very grateful to be here with you all. But appreciate your support, I really do, and all the kindness. It means a lot to me. Thank you. So Arthur Smith said, just tuned in and saw the title. Any news on Verge? So yes, Arthur, I feel like Virgil and Mo. I'm really confident before the end of this month those boys have a new contract signed and dusted. The only one I'm unsure of right now at this point is Trent. And I'm winding myself up about Trent. And, you know, I really am. I'm at a point where I'm winding myself up now. Nobody else needs to do it for me. Angie, Lady Anfield said, love you, Craig. You cheer me up. Well, thank you, Angie. As I've always said, you guys cheer me up as well. A lot of the time. I've been under the weather for the last week or so. And kind of sulking around a little bit, but when I come onto the streams, Angie, and I you know get chatting with you all, it makes me feel a little bit happier, a little bit better. His friend is the problem. Trent's not humble. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to cast aspersions at Bellingham. I don't know Bellingham. I don't want to talk about Trent not being humble either. Again, I don't know him as a fella, but I do know that. For the guy who claims to want to captain the club and win stuff here and cement a legacy here, this dragging on and him not even committing to want to stay here, it's just winding me up. I can't lie, it just is. And I get it. Some people are going to say, but Craig, he's being respectful, he's being quiet. But I think that's a cop-out. I think that's wanting, as I said, jam on both sides of your bread. I do. I think you want the best of both worlds. You don't want to be quizzed on it. You want as much time as you want. And then what? So yeah, for me, just hurry up with it, please. Because the longer it goes on, the more it feels like he doesn't want to be here. Swap deal Nunes for Zubimendi, at least it's La Liga. Again, though, you know, maybe Darwin liked the idea of going to San Sebastian. Maybe. We know there's some good hiking and some good food there, so perhaps. Craig, double up on the vitamins, zinc and chicken soup. I don't eat soup, mate. I don't eat soup. The texture and the whole point of soup just doesn't appeal to me. Scouser Cam said, defo a cop-out. Good. I'm glad you're feeling that way, honestly, because for me, from day one, I felt like it's a cop-out. Do you know the way we always say, sometimes you forgive a player a lack of talent if you see effort and work rate. You'll almost forgive a player dragging out a contract negotiation if at least you know their preference is to stay here. So I think that this is just going to damage his legacy, one way or the other. If he goes, I think people are going to feel lied to, and people are going to feel that, we were dangled along. If he stays, I think people like me are going to still question why it took him so long to commit that he wanted to be here. And maybe like he held the club to ransom on a number. Look, everybody's entitled to ask for what they can get. But if it is true that 3 contracts have been offered and rejected, when you're getting to that third one, you're at a point there, like first one you'd expect it to be rejected, to be fair. Most of us in any negotiation, you're not accepting a first offer. Second one, you're trying to get closer to the ballpark, right? You're feeling out, you know what they want, you know what you're offering. Third one, I would expect you're getting down to the nitty gritty there, right? You're getting down to small little changes on both sides. Maybe, give in on this, a little bit extra on that. So to have rejected 3 and us still not to be at the point, why? Why reject the 3? And David didn't say to me that that's absolutely not true. He didn't say it is true, but I brought it up in the conversation and he didn't push back on it. So, yeah, I don't understand at this point what he's waiting for or what he needs. Tanya said, one second, Tanya. I think Trent is playing games with FSG. You think he stays? But he's also potentially playing games with our season, because it can't be good for him either, because I'm sure everywhere he goes he's been asked about it. I'm sure he's thinking about it, and sometimes just having the finality, the clarity of your thought process and what's happening can be freeing. So I just want all of this figured out so we know what we can expect, we know what we have to do moving forward. And what's going to be very difficult about all of this, by the way, is if Trent does say, look, even if he came out tonight and said, look, I've decided I want to try a new project in Madrid. Okay, fair enough. How do you then go about the remainder of the season as a club with Trent? Some people will say, keep playing him, he'll be professional. Absolutely understand that. Others will say his mind may wander and will he really be 100% committed? I would say, I don't like playing people who don't want to be here, and I would rather give the time and minutes to Bradley. Personally, the idea of playing somebody and you're challenging for big trophies and this lad's future isn't going to be at the club, I don't know. I think it's just less beneficial in the longer term. I'd continue to play Bradley personally, but again, these are still hypotheticals. David said, rumour Trent wants the captaincy guarantee first. Well, let me ask a question, David, and everybody else in the chat. Do you think Trent's captain material? Genuinely. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer to this, by the way. I think it's genuinely, whatever you think yourself. But not for me. Really, not for me. I don't think he is a Liverpool captain. I just don't think... no. Just no. At least with Virgil, he is doing leading from his performances and talking people through the back line. I just don't see how Trent leads. Doesn't lead by performances, doesn't lead by aggression and energy. Don't really see him talking through people in games too much. I just don't see him as a captain. I just don't. I really, really don't. I would far rather give it to somebody else. But, let's see. It'll be up to the club ultimately if they want to give him that guarantee or not. And either way, it's going to be a couple of years, right, before it happens, because Virgil's most likely going to stay on for another couple of years and he's the club captain. Colzer said, oh, no, different one. You're stuck in a room, Man City, Gary Neville, soup and broccoli. You have a baton to erase 2 of them. Which do you actually choose and why? The first 2. Obviously, I can put up at soup and broccoli because they're not there every time I turn around. I don't have to hear soup and broccoli's whining Manchester accent every time I'm turning on the television or trying to listen to football and content anywhere. So yeah, At least soup and broccoli I have some respect for, albeit a very small amount. Colzer said Nunes for Frimpong or Javi Simons. So we can keep talking about swaps all you want, but they don't happen that much in football. So how about Nunes for 50 million quid and then we just sign Marmouche and we'll go from there. Nick said, sue me, but this is FSG's strong suit. Rarely, if ever, do they overpay a player. Maybe Thiago, but that wasn't anyone's fault. I hope you're right. You know, if I hear that Trent's agreed on 250 grand a week or something, I'd be very, very happy, Nick. And I would say, yes, good negotiation. Well done. But if I hear he ends up staying on 300 grand a week or something, I'm going to feel like they were absolutely fleeced. I can't lie about it. Fullbacks on 300 grand just does not sit well with me. David Massett said Trent's body language doesn't look right. Bellum said the whole thing shows he ain't captain material. See, that again I kind of agree with, but I just can't get away from the idea of him wanting quietness but then not understanding that everyone's going to be frustrated with no commitment. You know, how long do you drag this on for? You know, because you can't go through January and drag it on and into February. Then it just becomes blatantly fucking clear that he's not staying. And at that point he's taking the piss, in all honesty. Honestly, said Patrick, if Trent wants £300,000 a week, he needs to run to Saudi. I can't see Real Madrid paying him that. I really can't. Not if I'm supposed to believe that Bellingham went in there on about 3 to 350, and he was like the golden boy of the next generation of football players. Yeah, I just can't. Right, let me check back in on the poll. So I asked, have you been annoyed by Trent being silent on his future? I'm going to leave it running a bit longer because we haven't quite got 1,000 plus votes yet. So far though, 80% of people say yes, they do feel annoyed by it. Now, look, I've only been reading super chats there, so I'm going to dip back into the comments. Andre Nilsson said, could it be possible he gets even 350? If he gets 350 quid, mate, honestly, I'm gonna lose my shit. Because look at what Mo had to do to get that. And there is no way on this planet that anybody can say that Trent Alexander-Arnold's impact to the team is on a par with Mo's over the last while or now. It is. He has a role to play, an important role, Trent, and he is a very, very good footballer. But Mohamed Salah had to basically rewrite history to get £350,000 a week. So for me, if Trent got near that, I think it'd be a piss take. And I think it would set a bad precedent as well. Because then what happens in 2 years when Trent's 27 and he wants another renewal or another pay rise? Then you're into the ranges of what? 400? 450? £500,000 for a right back? Yeah, not for me personally. Daniel said, poll on Kwanzaa being sold, I've never rated him. No, because it's too early to judge Kwanzaa's career, and I think we're all being very unfair. You can talk about him not being ready for first team football, and there's a genuine talk about that. But to be at a point to write off a 19-year-old, I think we're mad to even have that conversation. At the very least alone, maybe see if he can perform at another level, but I think it'd be silly to talk about selling him already. It's not at all unusual for a young player to come in, have a good vein of form, and then fall off a bit. It's happened so many times, so I wouldn't be selling him yet. I wouldn't even be talking about it yet, to be honest. What do you eat in Ireland on Christmas? Again, most people probably turkey and ham. Some people bit of roast beef. Other people like a bit of fish. Some people have a leg of lamb. I'm ham. Anything, as long as there's ham there, I'm good. I love a bit of ham. Oh, sorry. Kwanzaa's 21, not 19. My apologies. I thought he was 19. Sorry, that's on me. That's on me, folks. Sorry. At 21, I mean, you're probably a bit further along. My apologies on that, yeah. Still, though, I still wouldn't be there to sell him yet. Because let's bring in another centre-back first. and then have the conversation. Because look, we might have to sell Joe. So if you then have to sell Joe, if you had to sell Kwanzaa, you're then looking at bringing in 3 centre-backs probably. So, no, I wouldn't be there yet. But what I would say is, I probably feel more comfortable now to bring in a third choice centre-back, rather than somebody who's maybe behind Gomez and Kwanzaa, who the club look to for the future. So, I still think we need another centre-back, but I've got a feeling Joe Gomez is going to want to go at the end of this summer. And if he does, again, we're looking at a big turnaround and a lot of change in the back line. So I'm not there yet to sell him personally. Kwanzaa's not been the same since his mistake against United. No, he hasn't. That's fair. What you want when you're playing a youngster is to put him into as steady a team and as solid a team as you can possibly do. You know, you don't want to throw him into a game where there's already 5 changes in the starting 11. You want to slip him in there beside Van Dijk with Trent on one side of him or Robbo or Costas on the other and go from there. The bringing him on at right back thing, or playing him at right back, that I think was a big mistake because it made him unfamiliar and probably dented his confidence even more. So if you're going to use him in his position, especially when you had Gomez there who could have shifted across to right back. Aaron said 21-22 is still young for a centre-back. Oh, it definitely is. 100%. Like 21 is baby terms in a centre-back world. But there's still an argument that if Gomez is going to move on, you need a good quality centre-back to come in there as well. By the way, I've got loads of news to get through, so I'm going to read this super chat and then fly through some of the news. So David said Frimpong, Aït-Nouri, Zubamendi, Marmoush, Salah VVD. I still struggle to see how Frimpong fits into the team. I've no qualms about his ability, but in the way that we play with a right back doing defensive work as a right back, I just don't. Under Jurgen, Frimpong may have made a little bit more sense because a bit more marauding and how we get forward, but I don't really think of him as a right back for Frimpong. I think of him as a wing back. So that one for me has never really made sense. But when you throw it in and you talk about the buyout clause being reasonable as well, it is attractive. I can see why people mention it. Craig Plummer. Craig, what a beautiful name, mate. It's a gorgeous name. I bet you're a handsome bastard as well, aren't you? Said, in my fantasy world, I'm living... Trent is leading Real Madrid on for the whole season, then signs for Liverpool after all that they have done. Yeah, in my ideal world, Trent wakes up tomorrow morning and says, I want to be here with Liverpool. Let's get this contract sorted out. Sorry for taking so long to think about it, but this is where I want to be. But appreciate you, Craig, and thank you. Look, we all hope he stays. You know, no matter what else I say or how I feel, of course I hope he stays. I'm just getting wound up by it. Giannis, thank you, sir, for your super chat. Said Schlotterberg is a 6'3" left centre back who may not bomb up and down that side, but is far more than comfortable there. This would allow Trent and Bradley some freedom, said Giannis. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your input. And again, if anyone has any comments on Schlotterberg, then let me know in the comment section. Right, shall we move on to another mad link that came from the Daily Mirror? So the Mirror say that Liverpool are trying to sign Mohamed Kudus in January. Go on to say that the assistant manager, Johnny Heidinga, worked with the Ghanaian at West Ham and Ajax. I actually spent, not West Ham's last game, but the one before that, watching him and him alone. I followed and tracked him around the pitch. I wasn't following the ball, and I wasn't impressed with what I seen. I seen somebody who, if he did that in the system we play, be being screamed at to get back and work harder. No denying Kudus has talent. No denying he's good enough. I just want more work rate from him defensively. But maybe the instructions at West Ham are different. And on top of that, I'll come back to what I said before. We won't be bringing in a forward in January, in my opinion. I just don't see it happening. And also, we need a 9 if we're going to look to the forward market most likely in the summer. And again, Kudus isn't a 9. Right, let's check in on the poll. Still not at 1,000 votes yet, so if you haven't voted, please do. Also a reminder, we are trying to raise money throughout the entire month of December to help Joe get that wheelchair basketball chair. You'll see a link pinned to the top of the chat. It's a Just Giving page link. If you want to help Joe out with a small donation or anything, it would be greatly appreciated. Joe has cerebral palsy, plays wheelchair basketball as well as being a youth worker and providing pastoral care to youth between the ages of 14 and 25. It'd be lovely to give Joe that beautiful end to the year, and if you guys can help out, it'd be really appreciated. What's the criteria for becoming an admin? There really isn't one. It's kind of a case of whenever we feel the channel's busier and pushing on a bit, we add a few more in. So yeah, there isn't really, other than we need to get to know you a bit, that's probably it. Right, let me see. I think I missed the chat here from David. 1 second. Where's this one? Yep, sorry, David. I didn't bring this one up, mate. My apologies. You said, do you think he's holding the club to ransom? Yes, I do. I take no pleasure in saying that. I wish the answer wasn't yes, but I do. Now, I should also point out that, look, he's perfectly within his rights to negotiate however he wants, but, you know, I'm answering your question honestly, and yes, I do feel that way. I'm not saying it's right, but I can't lie, I do. I feel like the Real Madrid thing's been dangled there. You either want to move there or you don't, and I feel like there's been a lot of double speak. You know, you want to captain the club, you want to go down as a legend, all this other stuff. Well, here's your chance. Say you want to be here and stay. Pavloy, excuse me if I've mispronounced, sir. I'm just trying to get this one up on screen for you. What do you think of Alphonso Davies? Him and Trent are in the same situation. If Trent goes to Madrid and we scoop Davies, good deal. The problem I see with Alphonso Davies is there's going to be a bidding war around his wages and signing on fee. And I don't think this is a situation where Liverpool usually look to put their cards on the table and make a play for a player like that. So, again, I wouldn't have any doubts about his calibre as a footballer, but I just don't see it as being a signing that Liverpool will go after. Whether that's right or wrong, who's to say? I just don't see it happening. And I've never been given any encouragement on it when I've spoken to people about it as well. Patrick said, Craig, who is your ideal successor for Mo? I haven't even still got a chance to get to the news yet. So many super chats, guys. Thank you so much. Who's my ideal successor for Mo? I don't think I have one. You know, in all honesty, I really don't think I have one. Yeah, can't think of one. Honestly, you know, maybe I'm delusional, but I'd love Ben Doak to prove that he could be that guy. Rodrigo from Real Madrid, I really like as well. If they were ever looking to sell him, and you know, we looked at him previously when he was at Santos, we tried to sign him. So, yeah, I don't know. And I'm glad we probably won't have to think about it for a couple more years. Marmouche, but I don't know whether he plays right or whether he plays left or whether he'll be played central. I mean, yeah, it'd be lovely to have one Egyptian king replaced with a prince who becomes the king. That would be great as well. And look, I do really like Omar Marmouche. I'm fully behind us signing him. Right, so more news. So this again came out of Spain, so take it with a pinch of salt. Said Trent Alexander-Arnold has rejected 3 contract extension offers from Liverpool. The Reds do not want to sell him in January and remain confident of a renewal. Then there was a piece on TNT Sports from Joe Cole, which I wanted your thoughts on. So Joe Cole said, I think Enzo Maresca is so far the manager of the season. Huge praise from Joe Cole as Chelsea continue their impressive form. So let me tell you why Joe Cole's wrong. He usually is, to be fair. So Maresca's done a good job. There's no denying that. But to be calling for him to be manager of the year when he spent, or the club has spent £1.4 billion on talent, and basically have free reign in Europe because they can play the kids and the reserves in the Conference League. So he's only really focusing on one game a week in a league where anybody who shows any type of decent consistency can get up that table. I think he deserves credit for the job he's done, but I think Joe Cole is putting his Chelsea loving hat on there with that sentiment, and I hate him. I'll say that as well. He just really winds me up. I don't like Joe Cole one bit. So yeah, so I don't agree. 1.4 billion for Chelsea to be spending. They should be up at the top end of the table with that amount of money spent. Craig, do you think Wolves will find the right manager? I think it's done already, Benedict. The guy who managed Al-Shabaab, I think it is, over in Saudi, or wherever that club is. I think he's a Portuguese manager. It looks like he's coming in to be their next manager. There was some talk about it earlier on. I'm almost certain, though, you'll see him probably in the next 2 days installed as the Wolves manager. Would you swap Slot for Klopp right now if he wants to come back? No, I wouldn't. Not because I don't love Jurgen, but I think Jurgen's time ended at the right time. You know, I've said this so many times. You can only inspire players so many times. You can only give the team talk so many times. You can only give different instructions so many times before eventually, whilst the group of players are still there, some of those words just lose their impact and meaning. So, no, it's the right time. Arne's the right man. And let's hope that he can build on the great stuff that Jurgen did and have his own little bit of legacy here. Any updates on the Salah contract? Yes. Multiple reports suggesting it should be completed by the end of this month, which I think I feel comfortable in saying should be probably right. Virgil and Mo, at this point, yeah, I'm probably 90% of my mind that they're both staying. Trent, I haven't got a clue. So again, another report came out to say Salah is now close to remaining a Liverpool player for another season. In recent weeks, the positions have come closer to such an extent that the agreement could be made official before the end of this month. Liverpool then released the numbers behind Mohamed Salah's milestone 100 assists for the club. And you've probably seen this, but top of the pile, the player that Mohamed Salah has assisted the most in a Liverpool shirt was Sadio Mane. He assisted 17 goals for Sadio. Next on the list was Bobby Firmino, Mo providing 14 assists for Bobby. Then number 3 was a surprise because he's a recent enough addition. That's Cody Gakpo with 8 goals from assists from Mohamed Salah. Right, back to the poll. We've now passed 1,000 votes. So I asked, are you annoyed by Trent being silent on his future? And 78%, 78 said yes, they are annoyed, and 22% said no, they aren't annoyed. And again, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with that poll. I was just intrigued to see what you were thinking. Here's one for the future, by the way. Keep an eye on this name. So Craig Hope of the Daily Mail, and I think Lewis Steele as well, have both been saying that Liverpool are keeping tabs on Sunderland starlet Trey Ogunsui. Again, my pronunciation is probably horrendous. It's spelled Ogunsui, an 18-year-old Belgian youth international playing with Sunderland. So, again, first name Trey, second name Ogunsui, Ogunsui. Two fairly reliable journalists there to say that Liverpool are keeping tabs on that situation, which again wouldn't surprise me. Liverpool are looking to bring in a lot of the great talent around the ages of 18 to the club, so let's keep an eye on that one. Thierry Henry has said something that I think makes a lot of sense. He said, "A lot of things need to change at Arsenal in order to win the Premier League. When I see Liverpool play, it looks like they're trying to win it. I see other teams, they're saying, let's not lose it." And that's exactly right for me for Henry. When Liverpool play, as I've always said, we try to win every game. And we try to go and win the league. Like, not stumble over the line, but go and win it. Be proactive. And I agree with Henry 100%, and Arsenal just tried not to lose. So yeah, I agree with that, and I'm sure it's going to wind up some Arsenal fans, but they deserve to be wound up at this point, because just when you think they've become as embarrassing as they can, have you seen about the deserve to win-o-meter? Have you seen this shit? We talked about it with Dave Lynch earlier on. We brought it up in the video. Arsenal fans have come up with a way to show stats and somehow put it on a win deserve-o-meter or deserve to win-o-meter. It is the most cringy bullshit nonsense thing I've ever seen in my life. For them to basically just try and cry arse their way into saying why they should have won every game, but they didn't. It is absolute tin pot nonsense. And they should hang their heads in shame. It's embarrassing. Because that's all it's used for. It's when they draw, they bring it up to show why they should have won the game and why they were robbed and why the world's against them and the ref's against them and everybody's against them. The grass is too green and the wind is too windy and the air is too airy and it's everybody else's fault. And they should be just given the league title. Because look at it, that's all it is. It's absolute nonsense. And if we did that, I would be ashamed as a fan base. But it seems like for Arsenal fans, there's no level to their delusion. Think how many assists Mo would have if Darwin finished them. They were also laughing and celebrating the Robbo sending off. Again, yeah. They were also laughing and celebrating their winner that wasn't the winner as well. But look, leave them all to it. I just continue to piss myself laughing because ultimately, one FA Cup in 5 years and 700 million quid's worth of investment. And they talk about themselves like they're prime Barcelona. What am I getting for Christmas? Nothing. No, mate, I'm too old for that type of stuff. Myself and Sabrina just book a holiday or something instead, to be honest. Are we being too harsh on Trent based on rumours? Katie, I think it's a personal thing, right? So, everybody's open to interpret the Trent situation how they feel. And I'm not here to say if you think we're being too harsh that you're wrong. I can only speak for how I feel, Katie, and for me, the longer it's dragged on, and I've talked about this for a long time now, and every time I've spoken about it, I've gone through the checklist of excuses, or genuine reasons even. And at this point now, hearing that 3 contracts have been refused, all I want to hear is I want to be at Liverpool Football Club. That's it. After that, you negotiate with the club away, but just tell Real Madrid to fuck off. And I know that people will say, but that weakens Trent's negotiating standpoint. Right, fair enough. But at this point, we are against the clock. So get your finger out. Stop putting the season at risk. And make a damn decision what you want to do. That's where I'm at, Katie. But as I said, I'm not here to tell you how to feel or anybody else to feel. I'm not going to undermine your thoughts on it either. What else we got? Oh, 1-0 West Ham. Was it a penalty? Somebody said, I think, 1-0 West Ham with that one. That must be right near the end as well, is it? If my memory's right. Yeah, that was an 8 kickoff, so that must be right at the end. That's a decent result for them. That was at Bournemouth, wasn't it? Do you think we get Ricci? Unsure. It makes sense in some ways. As I said, Richard Hughes knows that league. Right age profile. So I can see some sense to it. But I just truly, I don't know what to expect in the midfield search. Because, you see an odd name come up now and again. And I just don't know if there's credence to it or not. But from another perspective, as I said, it ticks a lot of boxes. Right age, reasonable fee, a league that Richard Hughes knows very well. So, I can see why we'd be linked. People are saying outrageous handball. Oh, soft one, Lauren said as well. Soft handball. A bit of consistency from these old referees wouldn't go amiss, would it? Because it feels like a lot of the time now we're talking about bullshit decisions. And by the way, I want to say, did you see today, actually on Ref Watch, Gallagher actually said Robbo shouldn't have been sent off. So, colour me shocked. So there you go. The consensus is amongst former referees, by most of them that I've seen reporting on it, Robbo shouldn't have been sent off because it was not denying a goal scoring opportunity, and because the ball went to Jimenez, who got a shot away as well before the whistle finally went. So yeah, can't do anything about it now, obviously, but Lineker said the same. Yeah, we brought that up, to be fair, last night on about Gary Lineker. And that's the first time that I ever actually, joined those dots myself. I've got to be honest. I mean, once the offside was ruled not offside, I thought, all right, fair enough, last man challenge. But, it was picked up on by others and they were right. Excuse me. How 1-1 already? Oh, lads. That's 1-1. They didn't last too long, did they? That 1-0 lead. Lauren said we need to bring in a minimum of 2 players in January. But do you think we will? I mean, I don't disagree with your take, Lauren, but I just wonder, will they pony up the dough? Look, I'm not going to lie. I'd personally take just a midfielder in January, especially if we can get Costas back fit, and it's the uncertainty of the Trent situation as well. Because, let me ask you, as I said earlier on, if Trent did say he was leaving and came out whenever, next week, next month, and said he was leaving, what would you do between now and the end of the season? Would you keep playing Trent? Would you look to blood Bradley in? These are things that this what makes this situation so volatile for me. Because if Trent does say he's leaving, I don't know how that goes on in the dressing room or how it's interpreted on the cup. I don't know if he has a poor performance. Will it be seized upon? Will people go in on him over it? Will people say, sure, his head's not here anyway? The whole thing is just a big mess. Do you think Trent's tempted by Real Madrid's pull? Of course. And look, I've always said you can understand anybody being tempted if Madrid come in for you. But my big question is, how long does it take to make up your damn mind? Do you want to be at Liverpool or not? Because we know in 15 days, 16 days, he can start chatting with Madrid and there's nothing we can do about it. He can start chatting with anybody and there's nothing we can do about it as long as they're outside the Premier League. Put in Bradley, said Jason Morrison. Craig, who signed Nunez? Was it Richard Hughes? Nope, that was Jurgen. That was Jurgen and George Smatke. So Richard Hughes wasn't at the club. Edwards wasn't at the club. That was at a time where Jurgen had pretty much the run of the transfers and he had his mate George Smatke working. So that was a Jurgen transfer. I would dare say that wouldn't have happened with Hughes and Edwards. They wouldn't have signed off on that one. Tim said, if Trent declares leaving, I'd never start him and I'd put him... So the reason I asked that question was, if Trent said he was leaving and Real Madrid were willing to pay a small fee in January, would you entertain selling him? That's where I was going with this. I wasn't just throwing it out there. So let's say he does say he wants to go, and Madrid come in and offer, I don't know, any number, 10 million quid to bring him in January. What would you do with that? Would you take the money? I would. Because I don't want the player being here who I know his heart isn't here, who wants to depart at the end of the season. I know it's not a great amount of money, but it would let us know there and then that we need to go get a right back as well. I just couldn't stomach watching him out there every week, knowing that he wants to be in Madrid and not here. It would genuinely just wind me up every time I see him on the pitch. Lauren said we need him for our title race. Do we? We need him wanting to be here and in the title race. We need him wanting to be here and 100% committed. But like I've always said, Lauren, I don't think anybody, not Trent or anybody else, that knows that their future is going to be with the club is ever going to give you 100% psychologically or physically. I just don't believe it. And I know people say they're professional athletes and all, but I just don't believe it. I know human nature, and I know that deep down your mind is elsewhere. You're thinking about the future. You know, if you feel a niggle in your knee or in your foot or something, you're going to go, I'm not playing, whereas you might have played through it before. I don't like the distraction. I don't like the long goodbye. I would take the money if it was on offer, if he made that announcement that he wanted to go. Jason, how are you, bro? Jason Morris said, we need Ibu more than Trent for the title race. Oh, look, 100%. Sorry, there was a message I missed here from El Harvo. Sorry, I didn't think I brought this up. If I forgot it, mates, apologies. Said, missed a couple of streams. Glad to be back, though. Glad to have you with us, bro. And thank you for your continued membership of the channel as well, mate. Appreciate you. Anything on Kirkes? Kind of a little bit, Riley. I put it to David Lynch earlier on. You know, I said, I'm paraphrasing my own words here, but I said I heard in your match reaction that you didn't think Liverpool would dip their toes in the market for a left back in January. And then I said to him, look, ultimately I don't think Costas is going to be good enough long term, so we're just treading water. And, you know, I would personally like us to make the bold decision and get the left back now, if available. But then we came round to speaking about Kirkes, and I said, do you think that there's anything to back this up? Do you think that it could be feasible? And he said yes and no in kind of both ways. Yes, in that Premier League proven, Hughes would know him. Did wonder whether maybe we could spend less money than 40 million to find another solution at left back, but certainly is a name that's in the mix. And by the way, I'm not running all of this off one bad game for Trent. Trent had a bad enough game at the weekend. Fair enough. It happens. So you haven't heard me really speaking about his body language or anything like that too much. I talked about him jogging around a bit, fair enough. But my reaction isn't based off Trent having one semi-poor game against Fulham. My reaction is just built off frustration of trying to go through a checklist constantly of what could be delaying him committing. You know, what's still unanswered for him. That's what's winding me up. Petter said, Craig, thoughts on the Cup quarter-final and the fact Southampton could have a manager bounce? I don't think they will have a manager bounce because it's 21's manager is going to be in charge of them. It's difficult to know, Petter, because I don't know how strong Arsenal is going to go. You don't know how strong Southampton are going to go. Do they think, oh, this is a chance for some silverware in a season that we probably haven't had much positivity in? Or do they think, no, we need to put all our eggs in the keeping players fit, staying in the Premier League basket? So it's always a little bit difficult when you get into these all Premier League ties in the League Cup. So we should be beating them. There's no other way to say it. We should be beating them, you know. We should be able to go to St. Mary's and beat Southampton. So everybody talking about Robinson from Fulham. Again, he's going to be 28 on his next birthday. It's kicking the can down the road. It just makes no sense. Because one, Premier League to Premier League move was going to be expensive anyway. He's 28 in his next birthday. As much as I agree he's a very good player and has caused us problems when we've played against him and did keep Mo relatively quiet, it just doesn't make any sense. 28 years of age by the time you bring him in, it just doesn't make sense to me. Petter, you can keep saying you're not in the title race all you want, mate. You don't believe that, I don't believe that. So can we just drop the falsities? You very much are in the title race. And deservedly. Let me say that as well. Like, you haven't fluked your way here. When do you think Canada will be back? Probably, in my head, I kind of have him penciled in for the Leicester City game on the 26th. Maybe the West Ham game away a few days later. But I think in and around that period is when we can expect Canada back. The one I'm interested actually to see is when Costas might be back available. I'm not really sure on that one. Who's going to play left back against Spurs? Probably Robbo. Probably Robbo. You know, his suspension will be for the League Cup game on Wednesday. So, yeah, probably him. Chiesa start against Southampton. I'd start Chiesa because, you know, I think he's played an hour for the 21s. So I'd give him an hour. And then maybe I'd replace him with Jota to give Jota another 20, 25 or 30 before the game against Spurs. Yeah, so I would start Chiesa if it was up to me. Apparently Costa's back in training. He's doing some bits, Tony, yeah. I've seen him out on the grass doing some bits, but I don't know if he's back in full training yet. But look, even seeing him on the grass is a good sign, so hopefully he's not too far away. I thought Robbo's a 3-match ban. No, it's a 1-match ban. It wasn't a dangerous challenge. It was just a foul, a red card. So yeah, not a dangerous challenge. So not 3 matches, just a 1-game suspension, and he'll be back for Sunday. Is your preview out tomorrow? Yes, it is. I recorded it just before I did this stream, and it will be out tomorrow. I think 11 o'clock in the morning. Again, 100%. It is just 1 game for Andy Robertson, so you know you don't need to worry about it being 3. 100%. It's just 1 game. Where will Chiesa play, by the way? So I would play him at right wing for the game coming up. Right wing, and I put Darwin through the centre. That's what I would do for this one. Riley says Jota has to start on Sunday. 100% agree. And do you know who else I think has to start? Diaz. Because, you know, he's going to feel he's got some unanswered business there or some unfinished business. So, yeah, I think 100... Like, Jota, in my mind now, Jota is the starting number 9. It is his shirt again now once he's back fit. And as people have pointed out, it's only 3 for violent conduct, and that's not why he was sent off. So, yeah, just the 1 game. Do you know how Bajcetic has been doing? He's been doing okay, Jeremy, but, you know, the uncertainty around his future is because Pep Lijnders has been fired. So, it'll be interesting to see, you know, I'm sure Liverpool will be in communication with Salzburg and whoever their next coach is and trying to find out what their thoughts on game time is, because the priority for Liverpool is to make sure that he gets minutes this season and builds up match fitness. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting week or two till we find this one out, but maybe in worst case scenario there could be a recall unless the new Salzburg manager says, no, look, I still want him here, I still want to play him. Then you probably just leave him where he is. When's Maka back? Tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Wednesday. Yeah, he's served all of the suspensions now. Champions League game he missed and the last game against Fulham, so he's ready to go. Annoys me how the injury sacked by Cecic's development. Hope he comes back to what we've seen. Yeah, it was really unfortunate for him. It really was. Yeah, I hope he can make it back as well. I do. Do you think Bellingham was a big influence on Trent? I really don't know. You know, it's hard to know what their relationship is. I don't know how often they talk. Honestly, I don't know. But do I think he's in Trent's ear about going to Madrid? Yes, 100%. Because I know Madrid will be saying it to him. Get in his ear. You know? And that's modern day football. But I don't know how influential that voice would be to Trent. Do you think Kwanzaa will play versus Southampton? Yes, I do. I think he has to. And even at that, I still haven't found a way to rest Virgil for that game in my prediction. Nalo will be in the squad as well, but do you really want to be going starting an 18-year-old centre-back there, maybe alongside Kwanzaa as well? 2 young centre-backs? No, I would rather see Kwanzaa in alongside Virgil. And then maybe, you know, the FA Cup game coming up, you can take Virgil out of the matchday squad completely for that. Trent could be an influence on Bellingham. Trent's already won it all. Yeah, but Bellingham is at his new club. So I think what people are saying is, do we think that Bellingham will influence whether Trent will go to Madrid or not? Skywalker said, Craig, looking back at previous results, I'm happy we beat Chelsea at Anfield, who look more challenging than the likes of Arsenal and City. Yeah, look, Chelsea have built well since we've beaten them. And you know, they could, I can't remember if they're playing on Saturday, are they? Technically, they could be top of the league by the time we kick off. So, yeah, we have a game in hand, let me point that out. But, you know, there is a world where Chelsea win their next game and we go and start against Spurs second in the table, needing to get a win. And that's when the pressure ramps up. So, this game against Spurs at the weekend is absolutely huge. Huge. Nothing but a win is going to be acceptable. Nothing. Because you get 3 on the bounce then in a draw, let's say, and you're giving encouragement, and Chelsea closing in again. No, we got to win. Has to be a win. Mikey said, truth be told, I'm only teed off that we aren't getting a transfer fee for Trent. For me, he can go. So it definitely would have helped, Mike. Definitely would have helped. You know, I always had it in my head that if we ever lost Trent, and I always did think there was a possibility we lost them. I always thought it would be for like 80 or 100 million quid. But the idea of him walking out for free, I'm angry at the club over it, to be honest with you. You know, Trent will look after Trent and try to do what's best for him, but the club letting it get to this point is just inexcusable. Because we're constantly hearing about a lack of money or wage bills being high and all these other excuses for lack of spending, and here you have an opportunity and you've let maybe somebody go out the door for free who's worth 80 to 100 million quid. It's not good enough. What do I think of Dibbling for Southampton? I don't pay too much attention to Southampton, to be honest with you, mate, to know enough about too many of their players. Rich said, we have some very good young players that need to have a chance in the first team, especially in the FA Cup, or in the Cup game, sorry. Oh yeah, that Accrington game, I would expect Liverpool to put out a glorified under-21s team for that game, in all honesty, Rich. Alex said, think Everton will do us a favour against Chelsea. No. I never want to put any faith in Everton doing that. And I know they just got a point, by the way, at the Emirates, but nah. I expect Chelsea to win that game, and I expect us to have to win our game. Do you think Neone starts on Wednesday? No. But I do think he gets minutes, and I do think he's in the squad. I think the midfield on Wednesday is going to be Watoro, Elliott, McAllister. That's what I'm guessing at. You could make an argument for Tyler Morton as well to drop in there, but I would say Watoro, Alexis McAllister and Harvey Elliott is the midfield trio. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Trey Neone, and I hope he does get some minutes because, as you've pointed out there, a very, very good player. Do you care about the Carabao Cup? Yes. Yeah, I've said this for seasons, mate. I don't know why, but I prefer the League Cup to the FA Cup. Maybe it's because you get a chance to get a trophy in early doors in the season, but I do, yeah. And especially when you're in the quarter-final of it, and you've got Southampton in the quarter-final. You know, you're a couple of games away from Wembley, so yeah, I want to win it. Of course I do. I don't think it's too much of a distraction. FA Cup, I'm not arsed about. You know, we're playing Accrington at home, grand, we should get through that. But, you know, if we didn't find ourselves deep in the League Cup, I probably wouldn't care about it as much in the earlier rounds. But now that you're here, yeah, you want to win it. The semi-final will be stacked though if we qualify. Good. Chance to piss more fans off by begrudging them another trophy and knocking them out. Good. Let the fume commence. Liverpool's the father of the League Cup. Exactly. I love it. I've just got great memories of the League Cup. Yeah, just great memories. All the way back from beating Birmingham. Of course, the whole time with all the cup finals were moved to Cardiff and Wembley was being redone. Liverpool were just fantastic. Yeah, I really like the League Cup. Ella said, I was lucky enough to be at Wembley for a semi and it was an unbelievable experience. Never been, Ella, to Wembley. I cost myself the opportunity to go once with my own arrogance. So I had a situation where, do you remember we played Aston Villa in the semi-final? I think O'Bonlahor scored the winner and we lost 1-0. I had the chance to go to that, but I was so confident we were going to beat them, and I had a guarantee that if I didn't go to that, I would have got a ticket to the final. And my own arrogance thinking we were going to beat Aston Villa cost me a chance to watch a game at Wembley. So, still haven't been. Till Sheen said, I think Everton will beat Chelsea. Huh. Interesting. But you also think they may beat us at Kudus in February? Nah, we're hammering them, mate. We're hammering them in front of all their fans for one last time inside Woodison. They're getting beaten. We're beating them. It's happening. On that Tuesday, Liverpool are beating Everton. I am absolutely adamant and 100% confident we are beating them. We are winning that game of football. We're a better team than them. We're beating them. They dented our title challenge last year. They're not doing it again. We're beating them. Last year's final was amazing. Still have goosebumps watching VVD's winner. Yeah, exactly. And it gives you a nice little confidence boost. And imagine if Arna got a trophy in what is it, February time? The FA Cup or the League Cup final, February, March. Get a nice little trophy in early doors. Get Arna, used to a taste of silverware. Give the boys, a bit more to push on to maybe try to get the league and the Champions League. Yeah, brilliant form. I love it. Let's get this trophy sorted. Now, if we get knocked out on Wednesday, I didn't want it anyway. Fuck it. Hate it. Didn't want it. Didn't care about it. But, now... Has the Merseyside derby been rescheduled? Yes. Not official yet. It's awaiting approval, I think, from UEFA. But the 11th of February, Tuesday 11th of February, is when it's been penciled in for. But it is pending approval from UEFA because that is also the night where one of the round... or the playoff for the round of 16 of the Champions League will be taking place. So, yeah, we just have to get approval on that because it's a Tuesday and usually they don't want league games on the same day as Champions League games. Skywalker said, Craig, would you say it was a good weekend for us looking at the major results? Arsenal draw, City lose and Chelsea winning. It wasn't a bad weekend for us. It depends how seriously you're taking Chelsea in the title race. So for me now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm at a point where I've written off Arsenal and Man City. Again, I'm not telling you how to feel, but I don't see Arsenal, if we win our game in hand, making up 9 points. Because nothing has shown us that they're going to go on this run that they'll need to, of averaging about 2.5 points a game. So I don't think they'll do it. Manchester City are absolutely not going to do it. We have 12 points if we win a game in hand over them. So those two in my eyes are gone. And it's Chelsea, can they last the pace? But ultimately, like I said last night, honestly I feel like it's down to us. It's on our own shoulders. If we can carry on, doing what we're doing, we'll be the masters of our own destiny. Who'll play left back against Spurs? Robbo. It's fairly straightforward. Andy Robertson. He's only got a 1-game suspension and that game is for Wednesday. AJ said Arsenal are more of a threat than Chelsea. It's down to us though. Well, look, again, I just don't see Arsenal making up 9 points if we win a game in hand. Look at it this way. We were told all their problems were behind them, remember? We were told that they were about to go on their mad run and they were going to win everything, and they didn't last a week. And then they've gone and drawn a home to Everton. They don't strike me as having the mentality to win a league title. I just think they don't have it. I just do. I think what Thierry Henry said is spot on. I'll read it out again to you. One sec. Here we go. So Thierry Henry said, a lot of things need to change at Arsenal in order to win the Premier League. When I see Liverpool play, it looks like they're trying to win it. I see other teams, they're saying, let's not lose it. And that to me sums up Arsenal. Trying not to lose it. Trying not to... Again, I'll come back to the game against us. That gave me a great insight into Arsenal's mentality. Scared shitless to win it. 1-0 or 1 goal ahead, and you had Martinelli run into the corner flag like a coward with 15 minutes to go at home. We wouldn't have done that. We would have gone to get the next goal to try and win the game. So I just don't think they have the mentality. I don't think they have the bottle to do it, and I don't think Arteta has the bottle and the mentality either. And I can't strike this part enough, I'm sick of listening to their fans. I'm so sick of the unfounded arrogance that comes from them. They're delusional. 1 trophy in 5.5, 6 years with 700 million quid spent, and they still think that they're going to win everything. Champions League, Premier League. And when they don't win it, and when we win it, watch them not give us the credit. It'll be, oh, City were terrible, we had a bad season, and that's the only reason Liverpool won it. Which is what they said when we won it, when we won the league title under Jurgen as well. They just don't have the good grace to admit their own deficiencies. But, you know, if you were to trust their win-o-meter, you know, their cry-arson-o-meter, as it should be called, they deserve to win every game because, you know, everyone's against them. The referees are shafting them. You know, God doesn't want them to win. The grass doesn't like, you know, Arsenal running on it. It cries every time Arsenal run on it and tries to trip them up. There's just, I'm sick of them. Honestly, I'm so sick of them. Favourite American snacks? Pretzel M&Ms. Yeah, and thankfully, two very kind people are posting me some, so I'm very grateful for that. Pretzel M&Ms, defo. And also, what's the Cheetos that you can get that are the light coloured bag? They're like, I think they're like a Weight Watchery type one or something. I can't remember what they're called. Cheetos, and they're in a white bag. Yeah, they were lovely as well. No, they weren't baked. I don't think they were baked, Mike. They were just skinny. Or no, what were they called? There was some name on them that was weird. No, it wasn't baked. They were just, I can never remember what they were called. It's been so long since I've been over there. What were they called? Let me see if I can search the bag. Nah, yeah, I'll probably end up turning off the stream, so I don't want to try that. Who do you fancy for a big fight on Saturday? Usyk. Usyk is what I'm thinking. Usually in a rematch, it tends to be more convincing than the first one. But look, it is. You can make a valid argument for either. It's close to a 50-50 fight, definitely. 1 second. Where is it? Okay. You're making me search now, folks. I'm going to search. 1 second. Right, well, Simply. They're called Simply. They're the Cheetos I'm thinking of. Yeah, they're called Simply Cheeto Puffs White Cheddar. There you go. That's the ones I was thinking of. Yeah, you can't get them over here in Ireland. So, yeah, them. I love them, but can't get them over here. Oh, and a couple of other things I love as well. Turtles. You know, the chocolate-covered nuts with caramel. Turtles, they're amazing. And my favourite cookie, which I can't get over here, but you can get in Canada, is the maple leaf, maple flavoured Canadian cookies. Oh. Whenever Sabrina's aunts and uncles come home from Canada, they bring a few boxes of them. I think they're called Mayor, M-A-R-E or something like that. They're amazing. Go-to jacket potato filling. I don't like baked potatoes, mate. Not my cup of tea, to be honest with you. I'd rather a mashed potato. But the answer would be baked beans and cheese, probably. What's my favourite season / time of the year? I love September. Not just because it's the birth month of me, but I like it weather-wise. Football's back at that point. So yeah, around September's nice. Lauren said, email me some. Don't be saying that to me, Lauren. You know, I'll be hounding you. And I don't know what you're saying you're sending to me. Are we talking about the maple leaf cookies or the turtles? Because either way, I want them, Lauren. I'll happily send you the money on PayPal or whatever. But God almighty, I love them. Them Mayor Canadian cookies particularly. Oh, so good. Maple leaf cookies, yeah, they're so good. They're so good. And there's even other flavours that you can see, Lauren. That'll make my Christmas, honestly, Lauren. They're so good. So good. And do you know what? I'm such a miserable fuck as well, Lauren. I won't let anybody have any. I guard them like Fort Knox when I get them. If anybody even walks within 3 feet of them, I'm warning them. Don't go near that box. Don't you go near them cookies. What a strange conversation this is. Oh, it really isn't, mate. Yeah, I mean, we talk crap and food on this channel so much. We end up going off on tangents so many times, mate. Honestly, it ends up just being a Q&A on anything. Questions, films, TV shows, food. I love it. I love these random tangents. Do you think we are the favourites to win the Champions League this season? God, good question. I'd have us in the top 3. I think it's in the Champions League. I find it really difficult to ever make anyone a favourite because the cup competition is can be so random. Like anything, one bad game, a red card early, anything can change in the knockout stages. So we'd have to be in the conversation, yeah. But I never like to predict the Champions League winner because it's so volatile. Dave said, this is why we're the best fan channel, because we chat. Exactly, and I love it as well, by the way. Don't get me wrong, I love these little tangents, little chats about. Because if there's one other thing apart from sport that gets me excited in this world, Dave, it's food, as you can probably tell. But I've now lost 19 pounds, so I'm on the way. Sometimes just talking about the food, not actually eating it helps. Craig, your M&Ms are in Portlaoise sorting office. Be with you soon. Oh, James, you're a hero. Thank you, mate. I will be standing there drooling as the postman delivers them. You're an absolute gent, mate. Thank you. They're going straight in the freezer as well. Out of the freezer is the best way to eat them. Do you think Núñez needs replacing? And if so, who's your ideal replacement? So, who asked me that question? 12 FC. Yes, and Marmouche. I think it'll be the summer. But I think, yes, he needs replacing. Look, personally, I just don't see him turning around anymore. And I don't take, again, any pleasure in saying that because he's an easy lad to like. He's an easy lad to want to do well. And I have seen improvements in him in regards to his work rate, his defensive ability. He's just not doing it with regards to goals. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think we will have to cash in the summer, which is a shame. Excuse me, because every time you think you're out with him, he does something, he drags you back in, and you want him to succeed. But I just, I think at this point it's more hope than expectation. How's Harvey doing? Good, yeah, he's really good, thank you, Eddie. Absolutely flying along. Yeah, he's getting his Advent calendar every day. He gets his little doggy treats out of that. Just back from a walk as well. Yeah, he's amazing. Every time I go into the kitchen, I end up getting distracted and spending 5 or 10 minutes in there just chatting and playing with him. And I love chatting to him because he's the only person in this house that doesn't give me any lip, and listens to me. Probably because he's got no choice. Point of view about fans saying throw the cups. I think I don't like it. I don't like the idea of throwing any cup or any competition. I think you always have to put out a team that you think can get the job done whilst maybe rotating and resting some first teamers. And if you get home draws as well, I mean, you really want to be trying to get through at home, So, yeah, I don't like the idea of throwing the cups. Especially, like, as I said, League Cup now Wednesday. You win that game against Southampton, you're in a semi-final. A decent chance of some silverware. So, and then Accrington in the FA Cup. I'm not fussed about the FA Cup, in all honesty. But if you keep getting home draws, you're going to keep wanting to get through. Dave said, looking after my friend's pugs for a week on Boxing Day. Nice. Lucas loves pugs as well, but I'm a one doggy at a time kind of person. Thoughts on Wayne Rooney as a manager? Horrendous. Absolute horrendous. It's his name that's getting him jobs. That's it. His managerial ability is absolutely horrendous. He was terrible at DC United. He's absolutely dog shit at Plymouth. Just a terrible manager. Nothing else to add to it. Doesn't deserve to be getting these jobs. And I think the Plymouth chairman may have even said he basically just intimated that he's only got the job because of his name. He's terrible. Just not a good coach. Amazing player, just terrible coach. Summer for me, Sell Darwin, bring in a centre-back, attacker and a left full-back. Hopefully we can get the CDM in January and get the contracts done. I'd be happy enough with the scenario you've played out there, mate. In my own mind as well, my main focus is on the midfielder in January. Left back, I would like it in January, but I could understand the summer, and again, same with the forward. Wayne Rooney's head is melting. Do you know what's annoying? You know the way. So Wayne Rooney, right? He's got the old hair done, right? And I'm not knocking him on that. Every man's entitled to go get their hair done if they want a hair transplant. But what annoys me about Wayne Rooney's hair is the sides of it are grey where he has it shaved, and then he's got this jet black thing on top of his head, which just doesn't add up with the rest of his hair. Dye the whole lot or don't dye it. Like, it looks weird. Like, just looks very, very weird. And then you've got the beard, which is grey and gingery, and the whole thing is just too much. It's just too much. Have I ever been to Australia? No, haven't had the pleasure yet, mate. I kind of set my 50th birthday as alright, I'm going to let you in on two little things, right? Two personal things. I'm going to celebrate, if I get to my 45th birthday, I'm going to celebrate massively for that. And I know 45th to everybody else is nothing. But it's the age my dad died. And my dad died at 37. My granddad, died at 37. My dad died at 45. So I've always been scared shitless since I've gotten towards 40. So if I get to 45, I'm going to do something special for my 45th. Whether I treat myself to something or I go on a flash holiday or something, I'm doing something. But 50th I have penciled in, if I'm still there, to do a month in Australia. That's the dream for my 50th. Harry Klein said, can you see by Chetchich returning in January due to Pep being sacked? It's possible, Harry. I think you have to have a conversation with Salzburg and see what their plan is, see what the new head coach's plan is, and go from there. What's your agenda for streaming over Christmas? Every day except Christmas Day. I'll be working. Connor's gone away for a few days for New Year's, but I'll be working through. The only day I'll take off is Christmas Day, because obviously that's the day to spend with the family. How long till your 45th? Well, I'm 43 now. So, my next birthday, next September, I'm 44. So, 20 months to go. So, hopefully I get there. Yeah. I want to break that cycle of males in my family, in my exact lineage, passing away too soon. So, yeah, I'm trying to break that. And now, look, I've got to say, there was no medical illnesses or anything. Unfortunately, but they were both self-inflicted premature deaths through alcohol. Unfortunately, so I'm hoping that by just staying away from alcohol and stuff like that, I can prolong that, and I can be into my 50s, 60s and be here and around longer. But I can't lie, I'm scared shitless. Every day I just think clock's ticking, tick tock, tick tock. Yeah, scary stuff. Would you ever consider bringing a live show to Scotland? Yep. If I could, Doug, it's always about the venues, bro. If anybody finds me a venue, no problem. Same as I said, when we said about going to South Africa, I've already talked to Connor about this behind the scenes. We've so much amazing Anfield Agenda viewers in South Africa that if we found the venue, we'd do it tomorrow. It's just about finding the venues. I don't have the time to, we're a team of two, so I don't have the time to research, find all these venues and figure it out. And that's what stops us from we'll go anywhere. We love to meet people and travel, and the more live shows I do, the less nervous I am about them as well. SG said, sorry for your losses, Craig. Alcohol is a lot to answer for. Look, it does. It does, yeah. It is what it is, Between that and mum taking an overdose and unfortunately passing away, yeah, yeah. I don't like going back over it and all, because obviously it's emotional stuff. But I'm still here, and hopefully here for a while yet. Craig, my man, getting old is a privilege that many never get to see. Enjoy every year. Oh, that's what I'm trying to do, mate. You know, I am. I'm trying to seize the moment and live my best life. And not take people for granted and tell people I love them and, you know, leave my kids with as many good memories as possible. And, you know, I look at it this way, though. Whatever happens, even if, you know, the worst came and I got knocked down by a truck next week, there's a legacy there for my kids now on YouTube. And for my grandkids and for anybody else, like, it's there, it's documented, it's good, bad or indifferent, it's there. I have a lasting impact and a lasting, I guess, footnote in the world. And that makes me smile when I think about that, because it's documented. You know, the only thing I have to remember my dad is his voice in my head and a few pictures, but there's thousands of hours of video there for my kids or grandkids or whatever. Not all of it they're going to like watching, whatever, but it's there. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go because I'm getting a tad emotional, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go and say goodnight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. The preview is going to come out in the morning, so keep an eye out for that one. If you do get a chance, check out the video with David Lynch that went up earlier on as well. And also, don't forget this month, we're trying to help Joe raise that money to get that wheelchair basketball chair. So if you were thinking of maybe sending a super chat or something and you could redirect the money to that, that would be very much appreciated. And yeah, thank you all for being awesome as always. Really do appreciate you dropping in, have a chat with me. And we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, 8:45. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.